Yes, good afternoon and welcome to the program Court Host, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Court Host na program where they come to you every Tuesday from 5 to 6, where they talk about different things about the law, which people they need for nobody law. Then people then forget the opportunity for call or text or call or text with in relation to waiting with the talk now. Well, today we did talk about the Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 as amended in 2019, and we get one prosecutor from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Wena Joel Dintarawali, where we can talk about the ACC Act and waiting people need for know about corruption and how people take time because the experts now we can talk today about corruption and waiting the law say and whether the law will deal with if involved in corruption. Joel Dintawali, good afternoon and welcome to the program Court Host.
Good afternoon, Mange. Good afternoon, listeners.
Okay. For with the stats, people plenty time people go talk corruption. What's that corruption?
Well, you see, Mange, within a society where clear laws, where they define waiting within a for talk about. And then law then the Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 as amended in 2019. As a matter of fact, there is a particular section, a whole section where they interpret some of them word in there. So in that interpretation section there, the word corruption is defined. So very quickly, make I explain from waiting the law say, not to waiting me say. All right, because as lawyers you know, say when they talk about law, now waiting the law say, now they talk. All right. Now, the law say corruption na an action, an act where go amount to any offense under the Anti-Corruption Act. So meaning anything where you do as a public officer now, as an individual where you do on your private business or anything where you do or you fail for do, we amount to an offense under the Anti-Corruption Act, na corruption. And the interpretation section, it go ahead and explain what are some of the example of corruption. What they talk about. One, is say any conduct where in return for any advantage, all right, where somebody do, all right, by virtue of in office where he occupy as a public officer, okay, or he abstain, meaning like where you did a public office, all right, and you suppose by virtue of your office, you're supposed to do a particular thing, you're supposed to actually take a particular action, but maybe somebody can give you something so that you're not going to do that thing there, because if you do that thing there, that action the way you take, it will affect that person there. Or maybe it will affect in your relative adversely. That person they can give you something, they can give you brown envelope. The law say na corruption. All right? The law also say anything where you they do as a public officer, all right? And you solicit, you request, all right? Where the law says solicit, meaning you ask for something, or where you just request. By virtue of your office where you occupy, you request for money, or you request for advantage, or you request for any material thing by virtue of your office where you occupy. Either for do something or not for do something. You don't actually commit a corruption offense. Now, mind you, Mange, where the law say you solicit, it don't mean to say pass you take the thing. Even if you not take her, even if you not receive her, once you don't ask, once you don't solicit, now did the offense day. You don't already commit the offense. So if you go ahead now, you go accept the two you ask for, you don't commit two offense. One, you don't ask for them. Two, you also don't accept them. All right? Corruption also means to say, if you dey work as a public officer, then they pay you. Government, they pay you. Your institution, they pay you. All right? A certain amount of salary at the end of the month. You get benefits, you get allowances or not. But then you dey live a certain lifestyle where they way above what you they earn. The law say na corruption around. Then call it unexplained wealth. You understand eh? If you possess any property where by virtue of the circumstances which surround you as a public officer, you lawful salary not go able for buy that property day. And you're not able to explain how you actually get that property day, whether na motoka now, whether na land now, anything where you know able to explain how you get it. The law say na corruption.
Okay,
All right. So there are many instances.
Okay. So now there are instances then the no more we get for the definition of corruption.
No.
Yeah.
There are many. I just don't want to take too much time on this because I also got other things for discuss. We got to call also misappropriation. Okay? Misappropriation of public funds or public property. So for example, if you dey na a public office, all right, you as a public officer, and there are clear instructions regarding how you for actually go about for disburse that fund or for manage that fund the way they in your custody or in the custody of your institution. And you disregard the instruction regarding how you for go about for spend that money there. The law say na misappropriation. Once you don't create a deprivation, okay, to the state, now misappropriation that one day. There is also what is called abuse of office. Okay, so there are many instances of corruption.
Okay.
Now I make the law just generally define corruption as any act where they amount to an offense under the Anti-Corruption Act.
Okay. So when we look at something and I know they work for government or I know get any transaction for do with government between me and you two, then they go be a go amount for the corruption.
I don't understand. Come again.
I know they work for government, right? Or I not get any dealings like contracts or then kind thing. Then they, I know involved para. Now me and you two get you're not public officer,
Yeah.
but me and you two we get personal transaction. We go amount then they to corruption.
Personal transaction.
Yes.
All right, fine. So now there is what we call corruption in the private sector and corruption in the public sector. All right. So there is a distinction between the two. Which you ask about now corruption in the public sector, in the private sector. But mind you, Mange, corruption in the private sector can most times get a spillover effect for affect the public sector. So for example, let's say you as a private individual, you get a private company, all right? You get staff, okay? And let's say a particular government institution gets a certain project, let's say a donor-funded project, like a World Bank project or IMF project, okay? And you then are your private company, all right? But then because you don't become aware of that particular project, and you want time for your company, you connive, or rather you conspire, you understand, with some of the officers within that particular government institution. And then the officers that they now, then give you leakage, then give you some information, saying that this and this for do, for actually submit your proposal, okay, or you bid, all right? And then tell you, say, oh, instead of a national competitive bidding method, we go adopt for your sake because you don't give it so amount. Yes, we go adopt request for quotation, for example. Okay, when I just like hand pick, then they hand pick. All right. So you go ahead now. You connive with your own staff. Una prepare fake documents them. Now, mind you, you're not a public officer. You are a private individual having a private company. You go ahead, you prepare fictitious documents then. You submit them documents and then to that public institution there. Why? Because you want to actually gain that contract. When you go ahead and do that, and at the end of the day, the contract is awarded to you, you don't commit an offense. As a private individual, you don't commit an offense together with your own staff. We're in a conspiracy. We don't conspire. All right? That's number one. You also don't commit an offense of what we call deceiving a principal. You don't deceive the institution. Because mind you, that contract day, where the institution they award to you, that institution day is the principal. You are the agent. You understand? So whatever instructions you are going to carry out, now from that institution day, it emanates from that institution day. You understand there? And then they inform how the project will be implemented. So if you present any fake document, you have deceived the principal, you have deceived the institution, and by extension, you don't deceive the state. So even as a private individual, even if you're not to a public officer, there are circumstances where you go still commit a corruption offense.
Okay, so let's say now you get a donor form. Now we say you get them, just say for example, you get them EU, the UN, them institutions, and they then support. But you get one of the staff, and probably people only the bid for the contract. Then the process no go how if go then do one kind way. So una can you go among that for big corruption because considering the fact say they want the international organizations.
Now, you see, many a time when institutions, alone, they get projects, donor-funded projects, they are clear-cut demarcations and instructions where they inform and govern the procedure, the procurement procedure for that particular project day. And way beyond that, they also they inform the implementation process. Okay? Now, what you ask about a situation where you have, let's say, an international expatriate, we come from the donor agency, not so?
Yes.
Let's say from World Bank, they come and they're part of this institution, okay? We may be in the implementing institution, all right? And that World Bank expert day, nine of the experts wait for advice. That is what you're saying. Right?
Go on, yes.
Yes. So if that is the case, no one is above the law, mind you. The law not the law. Waiting the law say, now you for follow. If the law, remember say we get, for example, procurement law, procurement regulations of 2016. You know that, not so?
Yes.
Fine. That procurement law actually get benchmarks. So if now a contract for service, for example, there is a benchmark where they say above 100,000 leons, if we adopt waiting, for example, national competitive bidding, okay, or contract for goods above 100,000 leons, if we also equally adopt or use national competitive bidding. So now, you the head of institution, or una where then at the procurement unit or committee where they award that particular project day, una aware of the law. Una know the law. And mind you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. But as a matter of fact, in most of them committee then day where they award donor-funded projects, yeah, during the procurement process, they must get one or two procurement person, okay, either from the very institution or from outside institution. So if you get a World Bank expatriate, where they can tell you, say, no, we'll not follow the law. Not to this we for do. No, now RFQ now is supposed to utilize. Not to national competitive bidding. You where actually then you they part of the institution. You know the law, or rather you're supposed to know the law on procurement, because now you feel that one day. Because if not, you feel, you know go actually deal at that particular committee, therefore award that project. You understand that? You now you're supposed to say, you don't say this, but this now wait till we law say. You understand what they say?
Yes.
Because no one is above the law. The law is of general application. So even if that World Bank expatriate they come and tell una say, let we utilize or let we adopt request for quotation, for example, and not national competitive bidding or not international competitive bidding, by virtue of the amount we involve, you waiting at the committee, you ought to know, so you know for follow that instruction day. As a matter of fact, now if you advise the World Bank expatriates and say, now this will law say. If we go against the law, because waiting in the say in a policy, maybe in a policy. And policy and law, when there is a clash, waiting they actually supersede.
The law.
Now the law.
Yes.
All right? So whatever he says, just a matter of policy. The law, now in sacrosanct.
Okay. So when we look at section 4, where it talk about the commissioner, the tenure of the commissioner. Yes. So waiting Andy.
Well, section 4, they actually, don't say, they talk about the tenure of the commissioner, meaning where the law say tenure, now the amount of time where somebody for actually take now office. Okay? So for example, like we did, so you did a radio democracy. Let's say if there is a particular law where they govern your position we hold as to how long you for did that position take. Now in a tenure. So regarding the tenure of the commissioner, now 5 years. And then the law say, okay? So when the commissioner is appointed, it occupy the position for 5 years. But it is renewable. His appointment can be renewed. He can be reappointed for another term of 5 years. So the maximum now 10 years.
Okay. So we people like you say, oh, the commissioner get fixed tenure. That way you get the commissioner, you when time not do it, you know for pull am. So which you think about that?
Well, waiting me know. Now waiting the law say. All right? And the law say the commissioner gets a tenure of 5 years each. And he is eligible for reappointment for another 5 years. Okay.
So when we go to 13, disclosure of assets and liabilities. So how far una don dey go with this assets declaration?
All right. So section 13. Now, when you talk about asset declaration, we, now the Anti-Corruption Commission, we are very much alive to the asset declaration regime we will get in this country. Okay? Now, there is a provision in the Anti-Corruption Act within a section 119 as amended, where they actually provide for the general declaration of assets, income, and liabilities of public officers. Section 13, however, they actually deal with the declaration of assets by the staff of the commission, okay, including the commissioner. So no one is exempted by the commission. And I'll tell you for a fact, say if there is any institution where they comply 100% with the law on asset declaration, if there is any institution, it is the Anti-Corruption Commission.
So this asset declaration we they talk about, how una can do it? Is it public? Is it private? How una can do it?
Well, of course, the declaration is biannual, meaning every 2 years. All right? And the law we will get now actually creates a room for confidentiality. Okay? So once you don't declare, you declare to the commission your assets, income, and liabilities. All right? once you don't declare, then the commission, they actually keep that your information there. All right, they keep the record. Why? Because there are times where people can actually misrepresent in the declaration. There are times where people can lie. You understand what I'm trying to say?
So you don't talk about people they lie, probably waiting they not get, they get, or they under declare. So what you can do? How are they able for no say this person don't lie?
All right, okay, fine. So there is what is called vetting. Okay, there are provisions. As a matter of fact, when you lie on your declaration, now an offense, now a criminal offense, because you don't misrepresent to the commission. Okay, that particular provision in section 119, we create an obligation on public officers to declare their income, assets, and liabilities to the commission. Now a provision where they require full and frank disclosure. All right. Equally so, there is an ancillary provision which creates a criminal offense in the event somebody lie on in declaration. So, when you don't declare, the commission is in possession of your declaration. That information, we go say, for example, you get 2 motor car, or that information, we go say, for example, you get house na Bobo, or you get land na Makeni and Lonsa, or you get land and duplex na Kenema. All right, but you know you fail for declare you hotel na Lunge. All right, or you fail for declare you truck, you Samsung truck. All right, maybe you get a reason why you hide all the information in there, because mind you there is an offense way now unexplained wealth. So if you keep certain information, you don't lie. Okay? Half information also amounts to a lie, to misrepresentation, and that is an offense. So now, when the commission come in possession of your information dealing with your declaration, the commission get the power for actually investigate them, meaning for look into them, meaning for vet them. The commission get the power now for contact other institutions for ascertain the veracity, meaning the truthfulness of your information we don't provide.
Okay. So if you not declare your assets,
it's also an offense.
So
failure to declare.
So when we come on to the commission now, when we take her now for the people who in the work in a public office system, where they don't declare their assets, what can do?
All right. So when a public officer fails for declaring assets, okay, straight off, it don't commit an offense. Why? Because that particular offense is now what we call strict liability offense. You mange you go know, not so? I mean you're a lawyer. Strict liability offense. Now conduct offense. Once you do them or you fail for do them, you don't commit the offense. However, there are administrative steps where the commission can take. All right, the commission can actually publish a notice. The commission will actually send a notice to your institution where they work with. All right. The commission now get the power for ensure say them work with Accountant General's office. We can write to the office from where your salary they come, your instruction for the payment of your salary they come out for make them pay you salary at the end of the month. We can write to that institution day and tell them say, look, this man don't fail for declaring assets, and so now withhold his salary. All right. And mind you, that is the reason why you see any law where we not get enforcement mechanism, now a weak law. Any law we not get we not be backed by punishment is a weak law, it's an impotent law. Before this time, before the 2019 amendment, you know, there was this lackadaisical attitude about the declaration of asset, income, and liabilities. across a lot of public institutions. But now that the ACC don't get the power for actually withhold the salary of the one that we fail for declare the assets, my brother, now we don't see almost 100% compliance.
Okay, so but somebody will ask, look the commission, look the staff then, and you look the public officer then, how them boku when it comes to asset declaration, how una able do am, how una staff then able forget all and they get all in declaration, una read am, una watch am.
Well, you see, I will tell you for sure, Mange, we in the commission, we get a team of dedicated staff. You know, in all departments, especially the asset declaration department. Okay? So that is not an issue at all. However, now we don't make the asset declaration process seamless. Before this time, it was mostly paper-based. But now the asset declaration is done, or can be done online.
Okay.
So all you need for do, now for go to the anti-corruption website, go to the portal, you go see the portion, and you declare your asset, that's it.
Okay. Yes, so when we go to section 19, where it talk about annual report of the commission. Yes, so what are these annual reports where the commission can make this and this section 19?
Well, you see, every institution is supposed to be accountable, not so?
Yes.
Fine. And the commission, not they work for himself, the commission they work for the people of Sierra Leone. The commission they work for the state. Now that make, for example, we would prosecute people in a court. It is not the commission against whoever, it is the state versus the defendant. Now, the commission gets a mandate for fight corruption. All right? And where would they fight this corruption? When a public fight, we also get an obligation for reports, for updates the people of Sierra Leone regarding the measures we don't take, regarding the investigations we don't conduct, regarding the cases we don't prosecute, regarding the recoveries we don't make, regarding the progress we actually don't achieve within the 1 year period. All right? So more or less, it's like an update. It's like a progress report. Would they come and actually, like what we say, konani, okay, to the people of Sierra Leone. Right? Of course, we do them through the president.
Because Nadanda wa act as a Muslim that now for the people of Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
But most often, now the president will not do that.
Yes. Of course, we are accountable. But you see, now, the president is the head of the nation. All right. So if with the give account, definitely it behoves us by virtue of what within the law say for actually give account to the president. All right. And of course, this update we can give is not hidden. It's not a hidden secret. Most times you can see it is televised. Not so?
So if we are doing to the president, how the populace will know the content of that report?
The content of the report?
Yes.
All right, just like what I say, it's not a hidden secret. Most times it is televised. Most times you get journalists from across the nation, from different journalistic institutions, where they actually cover that particular occasion day. All right. Now make I just read the provision. You say now section 19, not so?
Yes.
Section 19. Okay, section 19 says the commission shall not later than 3 months after the end of any year submit to the president a report of its activities in that year. Now, don't let what I say, with a report to the president, not just because we want to report to the president. That because Nadande the law say. All right? Nadande the law say. And of course, to answer your question, it's a public occasion.
Okay. So when we look, we'll go to 27, where they talk about the possession of unexplained wealth. Yes, so what's in this provision there about?
This provision there about somebody we, you don't amass, you don't accumulate so much wealth. We enable explain. You not go able reasonably explain for convince somebody say the wealth where he get unlawfully or legally. All right? The provision say any person who being or having been a public officer. So meaning the first thing, if you be a public officer, so for any private individual, once you're a public officer, or you don't serve as a public officer, you don't left office. Okay? Meaning whether you are actively a public officer or you don't retire, okay, as a public officer. You maintain a standard of living above that which is commensurate with his present or past official emoluments. Meaning, you maintain a lifestyle, a lifestyle, that lavish lifestyle. Almost all the time you spend money anyhow. You go places, you travel. It's a good thing. But the law only they say, if you enjoy that kind of wealth in this kind of society, make it be say you don't acquire that wealth lawfully. All right? Now, again, the provision also say any person who being or having been a public officer is in control of pecuniary resources or property disproportionate to his present or past official emoluments. All right? This is not just lifestyle now. This is they talk about money, for example. And they talk about property, for example. So if you get money in a bank, thousands of dollars, or maybe millions of dollars, or you get property then, when you're a public officer, or you're a past public officer, where by virtue of the salary where you receive, or we been there receive, we been there in office as a public officer, you're not go able to reasonably explain or justify how you get all them property then the law say you don't commit an offense.
So what's interesting here that even after you don't retire?
Yes, even after you don't left office. In fact, I'll tell you now. You see, Mange, sometimes people don't give it to say they're smart. Most times, some man they amass so much wealth and say, this one are the weight. Somebody they put on a different people a name. They wait till he retire, where he resign. All right? As soon as he resign, they begin enjoy. And they think now say, because he no longer they in public office, people are not going to feel to say, now that office where they work, now they thief. Because they again. But this particular law, Mange, this law say, even after you don't left public office, we can still come after you and say, look, my man, can't explain to Wiba, this boku property where you get so, or this boku, this plenty money where they enjoy so, this lifestyle where they enjoy so, how you get them? How you come to actually possess this kind of wealth, this kind of money that you account, then kind of property that you are. And okay, you go court. You're not able to explain reasonably. The court to find you guilty.
Okay, so we can to section 28, offering, soliciting or accepting advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that provision, the written in there about.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this particular provision say a person who, whether in Sierra Leone or elsewhere, we mean to say, Alexa, if you're not in a salon, you're out of salon. This offense you can commit her, even if you're outside salon. A person who, whether in Sierra Leone or elsewhere, without lawful authority or reasonable excuse, agrees to give, or offers an advantage to a public officer as an inducement to or reward for or otherwise on account of such public officer performing, abstaining. All right. So this particular provision, they say, anybody, whether you in a salon or you outside salon, all right, where you not get any lawful authority or justification, all right, or excuse, you give or you agree for give or you offer an advantage, meaning, for example, money, or property. Some man not get money, some man land, some man motoka. You go tell you say they give motoka. You go tell you say, hey, but I get two motoka na one car center. I go give you that one day. Do you that get this project? Or do you appoint some person to that position day? You understand then? So anybody will do that kind of thing in there. You agree for give, you give, you offer a public officer an advantage, meaning anything of benefit, whether na money now or whether not to money, whether na property now, or, you understand there? On account of that public officer day performing his duty as a public officer, or abstaining, meaning either you wanted the public officer do something, or you wanted he not do something at all, or sometimes and you wanted delay. You understand there? Because something then they you go say, this is inevitable, meaning it must happen whatever I do. But what I want for they do, they are delaying for me. So if you do that, then you give the public officer anything, whether a brown envelope or whether a white envelope or yeah, you don't commit an offense.
Okay, so where we commode, we look at section 33, corrupting public officer.
All right. You see, one thing we go realize in most of the provisions dealing with the Anti-Corruption Act, they focus a lot on public office. All right? Why? Now, because we know, and then when we draft this particular law, we know at the time we then draft them, say, the state gets an obligation for rid corruption, meaning for pull corruption from the public space. And mind you, if Salon they better today or tomorrow, or if Salon go fail today, or if Salon go continue for suffer with blackout or whatever, okay, with economic hardship, most of the cause, now wait till they discuss but so now. All right, the public space get a critical role for play in the development of any nation, especially in third world countries. And Salon is not an exception. All right, so now this particular provision say, is this section 33? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it says corrupting a public officer, a person who, while having dealings of any kind with a public body, gives an advantage to a public officer or any other person to influence any public officer, commits an offense. All right. So meaning this now, can they talk about anybody? It say a person, meaning whether you're a public officer or you go try for give something to you come in public officer, or whether you're a private individual, maybe you get company, you get whatever, or maybe you don't even get company self. All right? You not a public officer. The law say any person, okay, a person who, while having dealings of any kind with a public body, once you get a dealing, all right? Let's say, for example, you get an association, Mangi. That association, they actually look for, they bid for a particular project. Let's say you go to a certain ministry. By virtue of that project, now the line ministry that one day, you did deal with the ministry in question. Okay? So meaning first, by virtue of this provision, when they create this offense, there should be a dealing between the person where they commit the offense and the office outside the public officer day. You understand that? So now you get an activity or a dealing with a certain office. Okay? Let's say John then at this office. You get a company, you call a Mange company. All right? And you go now the office. You want this project to a company. And then you meet John. Okay? By virtue of that dealing the way you get with the company, with the office, you go ahead and give John brown envelope. Or you go ahead and give John, let's say, something else that is of material benefit to John. Okay? As a result of you dealing with that office, for influencer office day, you don't commit an offense. And mind you, just like what I say, this offense is not just a public officer, the committer. Even a private individual, the committer.
Okay, thank you very, very much. In name na Joel Din Tarawali, na prosecutor na the Anti-Corruption Commission. It talk about the ACC Act, which in people they need for know, especially public officers them, which they need for know about the act, which in person go don't do. They say, oh, this they don't commit corruption. Now in idea should they for talk. So we also look at section 34, where they deal with bribing of or by the public officer to influence the decision of public body.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, section 34(1), you see, the word bribery, many times when people talk about, we mention corruption, like public forum or public space, or to people generally. Now, this particular word, now first they come to mind, not so?
Yes.
Bribery. But you see, the law actually take cognizance of that. So in addition to all the other offenses that we don't talk about, and there are many more in the Act, bribery is one critical aspect, okay, of the things that make it happen in the public space. We're not right. We're not proper. We're there against with moral conscience. We're there against with drive for development, which is why the law criminalizes in section 34. And section 34 say, a person who gives or agrees to give or offers to a public officer an advantage for what? For voting or abstaining from voting, or having voted or abstained from voting at a meeting of a public body of which he is a member, director, employee, in favor of or against any measure. You understand what they say? It means to say, you, whether you're a private individual or you're a public officer, you go meet this public officer, you give him something, or you promise for give him something, whether na money or whether na anything material of benefits to that public officer. Because you know, say that public officer day, maybe it then one committee when then they vote, for example, for take a decision na that public office day. You get something so that he not go vote. Or so that he go vote for you. All right? Or after he don't vote, he go abstain from continuing to vote. Okay? In any meeting of a public body, okay, of which that public officer is a member. Just like, for example, we can get them committee, them procurement committee. Most times after them deliberations, there are times where you go get one procurement member who will say, no, I don't agree. No, so you will get sometimes 2 against 3. Or maybe there is a tie. All right? So when that happens, and then you go meet either one of them, or you go meet all of them, or you go meet majority of them, and then you convince them with money, or with land, or with any kind of property, say make them vote for secure your own interest, you don't commit an offense.
So, when we say you talk about tie and all of this, in common law, they can talk about casting votes.
I mean, and the chairman.
Yeah, beside the chairman, don't say, well, they no influencer.
Yes.
Instead, don't give casting votes.
Yes.
For influence or go against the decision.
Well, now you are getting the point. Exactly the point. There are times where, of course, where there is a tie, you get the chairman, we actually get a casting vote. So assuming now that is the situation, and you now, this private individual, or maybe even a public officer, will get interest. Because there are times, Mange, where you get some public officers, where they get private companies, where they bid for some project there. Now the very institutions where then they.
So,
right?
so in their instances, then they, if they accuse themselves and they make a frank disclosure. That now then come in and then get interest and they stay away, we can still, that can still amount to corruption.
No. As a matter of fact, that is what the law says. The law say you as a public officer, whether you're the head of the institution or whether you they occupy top management position or whether you not just an ordinary staff of the institution, but you're supposed to partake in the decision making now the committee, for example, where they deal with that particular project or procurement, okay? But then you get an interest in the decision where the committee they make, because that decision they will affect your own company where you get privately. Maybe because you be not aware of the project, you don't make your company don't bid for that same project. What did the law say? Now that you're supposed to declare your interest. And you for recuse yourself. All right? You're supposed to declare your interest. And when you fail for declare your interest, the nature, not just your interest, the nature of your interest, meaning how. If you say now regarding a company, who that now you and that company? Are you the owner of the company? Are you the secretary of the company? The law says you're supposed to declare not just your interest, but the nature of your interest in writing. All right? So you're not just go no more viva voce orally. Members of this committee, I want to let you know that I have an interest in this. No. You have to do it in writing. That is what the law says. And when you fail for do that, you don't commit an offense.
Okay, so more we look at 36, section 36. Misappropriation of public funds or property.
Yes. All right. So, section 36, it say a person who misappropriates public revenue, public funds, or property commits an offense. Now, look at the, lawyer, look at the wording of this particular provision. It is all encompassing, meaning it captures all man, whether you are a public officer or you are a private individual. Okay? It say a person, you not say public officer, because there are times where you get private individuals where they do something or they fail for do something where they actually amount to misappropriation. Okay? So it say a person who misappropriates public revenue, meaning the money where they come into government coffers. Okay? For example, the payments that we can make to NRA, for example, tax, for example. All those are revenue to the state. Okay? Public funds. Public funds are any fund we do for the benefit of the people of Sierra Leone. All right? Or public property. Okay, so if you misappropriate any of them three things, you don't commit an offense. And there is a definition in subsection 2. It says, so what's a misappropriation? A person misappropriates public revenue, public funds or property if he willfully commit an act, okay, whether by himself, with or through another person, by which a public body is deprived of any revenue, funds, or other financial interest or property belonging or due to that public body. All right. So what in this definition they say? This definition it define waiting and misappropriation. Now the law don't criminalize misappropriation. Okay. Say anybody will misappropriate public funds, public revenue, or public property, it don't commit an offense. Not so. Now, but waiting and misappropriation. Now in this provision they actually explain now. Okay. And they say a person go misappropriate public funds, public property, or revenue if he willfully, not by mistake, not by coercion, they not point gun at you aid. You understand? Not by duress. You willfully commit an act, whether by yourself now or yourself, you do them yourself, or you do them through somebody, you agent, you subordinate. Okay? And by which a public body is deprived. So meaning where you actually do that thing, that's the way you do, it causes deprivation to a particular public body. It make the public body be deprived of either the public revenue or the public funds or the public property. Okay? You don't commit an offense. All right? So it's as simple as that. So for example now, let's say you, Mange, you work with a certain public institution. Let's say you work with NRA. You know, say NRA now a major revenue generating institution na Salone. By virtue of the office where you occupy, you they receive payments, okay, from the general public on a daily basis. You they issue receipts. And so what you do, you connive with some of you colleagues them now office, where they occupy the same office space and operate the same system. You connive with them, you conspire with them for ensure say their money then they will not receive. When I know they actually pay them into the account, una they hold them for una self, okay, and then una manipulate the record for make it appear like say indeed payments will don't take effect. When you do that, you don't deprive NRA of that money where the public they pay. So now I make this particular act talk about deprivation. So when you do anything where they cause a public body for be deprived of either public revenue, public funds, or public property, you don't commit an offense. And that name is appropriation thereabout. And this now one particular offense were very common, Mange. Most of the cases that were they prosecute in a court, most of the cases where they investigate as an institution, at the Anti-Corruption Commission, I mean, most involve misappropriation. Of course, there are other offenses: abuse of office, abuse of position, failure to declare certain common liabilities, blah, blah, blah. But misappropriation is one key offense, one common offense. But mind you, you see, before 2019, the legal regime around the punishment of especially misappropriation offenses, it was a bit weak. So when we amended the act, we ensure say, where the court now find you guilty of misappropriation, in addition to the fine, where the court the order say you for pay, or the term of imprisonment, the jail term where the court they give you, now it is mandatory, say, that money where you misappropriate, or that property where you misappropriate, when the court find you guilty, the court they order you for restituta, meaning for bring and come back. So if now 100 million you be don't misappropriate, the court they order you say for come pay that same amount there. All right. So if now property be don't misappropriate, the court go order you say you for restitute that property there. All right. So now you find out say, especially corruption, especially with misappropriation offenses, it don't become more expensive because today Some man go say, well, I do go on the jail. I will can't enjoy the money. Not so. But now, you go on the jail, you still not going to enjoy the money. Because the court, by virtue of the law we'll get now, will order you say if you can restitute.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Joel Dintrawali, for where you join we today na court host, na prosecutor na the ACC. He don't explain plenty things them about the act and waiting people them for do and waiting people them for do and waiting they not for do for me they not commit corruption offense system. So na dandy today na it take pain for explained certain provisions them, but like time no sufficient for we. So with time we would bring and come or other person from the ACC for can explain this act so that people then go aware of waiting they inside this act. Well, plenty thank you to Ram for we can explain. Plenty thank you to Fatimata Samura. Plenty thank you to Randy. And plenty thank you to Theodora Arena, we produce the program. Me, we present the program in name Namange Mansari. Wait again for another edition on next week, Tuesday from 5 to 6. And we will bring a very interesting topic where people need for know. So until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.